You touch it almost every day. A thin white sheet. It waits quietly on your desk. You write a note. You fold a letter. You print a page. Then you move on without thinking about it. Paper feels simple, soft, light, almost silent. Yet it has carried the weight of empires, prayers, love stories, and secret plans for nearly 2,000 years. If paper has ever held a memory for you, share this story with someone who still writes by hand, and tell me in the comments, do you prefer reading on paper or on a screen? Almost 2,000 years ago in ancient China, people already knew how to write. They wrote on bamboo strips. They wrote on silk. Bamboo was heavy. Silk was expensive. Writing was slow and hard to carry. Then, during the Han Dynasty, a court official named Kai Lun began to experiment. He lived around the year 105. As he worked for the emperor, he looked at old rags, tree bark, fishing nets, things others threw away. He had an idea. He soaked these materials in water. He beat them into a soft pulp. Pulp means a wet, thick mixture. Then he spread this mixture thinly on a flat screen. He let the water drain. He pressed it. He dried it in the sun. What remained was light, flexible, smooth enough to write on. It was not perfect at first. It tore easily. It looked rough, but it was cheap. And that changed everything. The emperor liked this invention. The method improved. Soon, paper began to replace bamboo and silk. Officials could record laws more easily. Scholars could copy poems. Students could practice writing without using rare materials. Paper did not shout about its power. It simply made ideas easier to hold. In time, paper became part of daily life in China. Families used it for letters. Artists painted on it. Monks copied sacred texts on it. Sacred means holy, connected to religion. Each sheet carried words that shaped minds. There is a quiet beauty in this. An object made from waste, rags, bark, nets. It turned into something that carried wisdom. I think this is one of the most beautiful things about human nature. We see value in what others ignore. For many centuries, the secret of papermaking stayed mostly in China. Craftsmen guarded it carefully. The method passed from teacher to student. It was a skill, a tradition. Then, in the 8th century, something happened. There was a battle near the Talas River in Central Asia. Chinese forces met Arab forces. In the conflict, some Chinese craftsmen were captured. Among them were papermakers. The secret traveled west. In the Islamic world, paper found new life. Cities like Samarkand and Baghdad began to produce it. Craftsmen improved the process. They used watermills to beat the pulp. A watermill is a machine powered by flowing water. It saved time and energy. Paper became cheaper and more common. Scholars in Baghdad wrote about medicine, math, and stars. They translated Greek works into Arabic. Libraries grew. Knowledge moved from one language to another. There is a soft wonder in this moment. A battle caused pain and loss. Yet, from that pain, a craft spread. Ideas traveled further than swords ever could. By the 12th century, paper reached Europe. At first, Europeans were unsure. They used parchment, made from animal skin. Parchment was strong but costly. Paper felt fragile, new, strange, but it was also affordable. Paper mills appeared in Spain and Italy. Workers sorted old cloth. They washed it, cut it, soaked it, beat it. The smell must have been strong. The work was hard. Hands in cold water for hours. Yet slowly, stacks of fresh paper dried in the sun. Merchants began to keep better records. Governments wrote more laws. People sent more letters. A material once born in a Chinese court now sat in European markets. In monasteries, monks copied books by hand. They bent over wooden desks. Candlelight flickered. Their ink flowed over paper. Each page took hours, sometimes days. There is a quiet sadness here. So many hands worked in silence. Many of those names are lost. We remember kings and generals. We forget the papermakers, the scribes, the workers who pressed wet pulp into thin sheets. Dear listener, think about that for a moment. A history often remembers noise, but progress often grows in silence. Then, in the 15th century, another change arrived. Johannes Gutenberg in Germany built a printing press. A press is a machine that presses ink onto paper. He used movable type. That means small metal letters that could be arranged and rearranged. This invention did not replace paper. It depended on it. The printing press and paper formed a quiet partnership. Together, they made books faster, cheaper, more common. Before this, a book could take months to copy. After the press, many copies could be made in days. Bibles spread across Europe. So did scientific ideas. So did political thoughts. Some of these ideas challenged kings. Some challenged the church. Paper carried them all, and this is where the story becomes more intense. Words on paper began to change power itself. Pioneer pamphlets, small booklets, spread new beliefs. People read them in secret. Some were punished for what they printed. Some were punished for what they read. Paper became more than a tool. It became a quiet weapon, not violent, but powerful. Yet even in these storms of ideas, paper remained calm. It did not choose sides. It simply held ink. By the time we reach the early modern period, paper is everywhere in Europe and Asia. Ships carry it across oceans. Traders pack it with spices and silk. Students carry it in bags. Governments fill rooms with documents. It sits in classrooms, in courts, in homes. And still, it stays silent. As we move forward in time, paper will travel even further. It will witness revolutions. It will carry love letters across battlefields. It will record births and deaths. It will help build nations. And in the next part of this story, we will see how this thin sheet of pulp stands at the center of human change, not with noise, but with quiet strength. Today, many of us wake up and look at a screen before we even leave our bed. Messages wait, news waits, work waits. Light shines from a small device in our hand. Paper does not shine. It does not vibrate. It does not send alerts. And yet, it is still here. Look around your room. There may be a notebook near your bed, a book on a shelf, a receipt in your bag, a letter in a drawer that you kept for years. In offices, contracts still need signatures. A signature means writing your name by hand to show agreement. Courts still store paper files. Hospitals still print reports. Schools still give exams on printed sheets. Some countries tried to move fully digital, and they spoke about a paperless future. Paperless means without paper. It sounded clean, modern, efficient. But reality feels more mixed. In many places, people trust paper. They like to see something physical. They like to hold proof in their hands. A printed certificate feels solid. A handwritten note feels personal. During power cuts, paper still works. During system failures, paper does not crash. There is a quiet strength in that. Think about a child learning to write. The pencil presses against the page. The letters are shaky at first. Then they grow stronger. The child sees progress directly on the paper. Writing by hand slows the mind. It forces us to think about each word. Many students say they remember information better when they write notes on paper. The act of writing connects hand and brain. A screen moves fast, where paper moves at the speed of your hand. In recent years, something interesting happened. As technology grew, many people returned to paper in small ways. They bought planners, journals, sketchbooks. A journal is a personal notebook where you write your thoughts. People use it to reflect, to calm down, to understand their feelings. In a busy world, paper feels quiet. There is another gentle, emotional moment here. Think of someone finding an old letter from a grandparent. The paper is yellow, the edges are soft, the ink has faded slightly. When you touch that page, you are touching the same surface they touched. Years ago, maybe decades ago. A text message does not age like that. It does not carry the same physical trace of a person. Paper can wrinkle, tear, stain. But these marks tell a story. I think this is why paper still matters. And not because it is more advanced, not because it is faster, but because it is human in a very simple way. It accepts our imperfections. Even in business, paper remains strong. Money was once made from paper. Banknotes traveled across borders. Though digital payments are common now, many people still trust cash in their hand. Books also survive. Many readers enjoy e-books. They are light, easy to carry. But printed books still fill stores. Libraries still lend physical copies. When you turn a page, there is a small sound, a soft movement of air. You see how much you have read. You feel the weight shift from right to left. That physical sense of progress feels real. Some schools now mix both worlds. Students read from tablets. Then they write essays by hand. Offices store files in the cloud. Then they print final documents for safety. And paper and screens live together. There are also environmental concerns today. People worry about trees, about waste, about recycling. Recycling means turning used materials into new products. Modern papermaking uses more recycled paper. Companies plant trees to replace those cut down. It is not perfect. But awareness has grown. In many countries, paper bags replaced plastic bags. Paper returns as a symbol of something natural, something less harmful. And so, after 2,000 years, paper still adapts. From Kai Lun's simple experiment with bark and rags, to massive factories using wood pulp, to recycled sheets in modern offices, the form changes. The core idea remains, a thin surface that holds human thought. Dear listener, think about the last time you received a handwritten note. Maybe it was a birthday card. Maybe it was a small thank you message. Did you keep it? Many of us do. We place it in a box, a drawer, between pages of a book. We keep it not because of the paper alone, but because of what it carries. Paper has been present at births and at funerals. It records our first school test. It signs our first job contract. It carries wedding vows. It prints photographs that sit in albums. It stands quietly beside us. And now, as you sit with this story, you may be listening through a device, a phone, a computer, a speaker. Still, somewhere near you, there is probably a piece of paper, perhaps a book, perhaps a note. Next time you touch it, pause for a second. Feel its texture. Notice its light weight. Think about the long path it traveled, from ancient China, through battles and libraries, across oceans, into factories, into homes. Watch all that history rests in your hand. Paper does not demand attention. It does not argue. It does not glow. It simply stays. In a world that often moves too fast, That quiet presence feels steady, and maybe that is its silent power.